All right, guys, cheers.
Woo! Oh, it's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while. So we were just talking off camera that it's been about 1 year.
Yeah.
For me, yeah.
It's been a while.
I've seen you.
Yeah. So first, I think some people don't know who you are. This is your first time on this channel.
Oh, right.
Yeah, right.
This guy.
We know who you are, but
yeah.
so do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Andy.
Okay, that's enough.
Okay.
Keep on going.
No, that's it. Just longtime friend of Arthur. Met Austin too, like couple years ago.
Couple years.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's been like 3 years now.
Yeah. So now your show is like Austin, Andy, and Arthur.
Yeah, it's
today.
the AAA.
AAA. Yeah.
AAA, man.
For today.
Yeah. But today, so the reason why I'm asking you to come, I mean, I would love you to come normally too, but the reason specifically why I wanted you to come today is because we want to talk about Chat GPT.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know much about Chat GPT. I've used it before.
Yeah. So, I mean, we can get into this when we get into the discussion. I have a very new experience. I've just started using it, and we're incorporating it in classes.
Oh, really?
And so I want to talk about that because
that's
cool.
Yeah.
Some really cool stuff.
Wow. Here, I'll pour for you, man.
Oh, okay.
So, by the way, people comment about how it's like, oh, Austin like pours for himself. That's so weird. This is Japan.
Is it? Yeah,
I'm just a selfish person. Like, there's
I think that whenever I
no
watch
other reason.
when I watch you guys, your show, like what gets me is like you drink in these tiny cups. You have to keep pouring.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to get them like some larger sake cups.
So I wanted to bring like a giant mega cup.
Yeah.
But I feel like that would
Like a plastic cup.
it would probably look a little low class.
Yeah, well, I was thinking more like the wooden box. And
Oh,
like,
the
put
masu?
Yeah, and put the glass inside.
You know,
it,
I mean, we can just attach a hose to it too.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, just like we could put straws
That
in.
was
little
straws.
drinking straws.
Yeah.
We got Arthur with his fancy gold cup.
No, okay,
yeah.
listen. This came with the pour thing. I didn't get it for this. I got it for the pour thing because we had that giant bottle before, right?
That is nice.
You know, I don't know if there's any significance about it, but that reminds me of the cups that I was drinking out of during my wedding ceremony.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they were like I think they were like more gold plates.
Okay.
But I don't know. It just reminds me of that.
They were gold.
They were gold. I think
Yeah,
that's probably the only similarity.
Probably. But Andy, do you want to talk a little bit about because by the way, I just tell you, I'm running off of like 5 hours of sleep over 2 days right now.
Oh man,
So
I'm not in my best condition right now either.
Yeah.
But anyway, for me, I mean, I'm in the tech industry.
Yeah.
So I'm a programmer. So I use it quite a bit at work, especially when I'm learning like a new technology or tool.
Yeah.
That's the best thing. I think like you mentioned, you use it in the classroom.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like having your own personal tutor sometimes. Like
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So I've got a friend who I guess he also falls under like the programmer. Honestly, IT is like a complete enigma to me.
Black box.
I just do not understand anything you guys do, and I think that's probably why you guys make so much money doing it.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm doing. To be honest. Yeah.
But something he's managed to do, and I'm curious if you do the same, is he doesn't actually work. He programmed Chat GPT to do his job and write code for him.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to think my job isn't that easy. That I can be replaced that easily. But it does. I've heard of people using it for things like that. Like for instance, I had a friend who is a streamer.
Yeah.
And he made a chatbot that just responds to the people like talking, so
Okay.
he doesn't have to even look at it.
No
Yeah.
kidding. So
Dude, I want that.
Yeah. Right. So that's a
Really?
good use for it. Yeah. So it's
that's so crazy that
Yeah.
it would have like the ability to make like
Yeah.
responses that have like
Right.
context.
I don't know if it's Chat GPT, but it's some
Sure, I mean,
chatbot.
there's so
Yeah,
many these
yeah.
days.
So I feel like a lot of people, you hear the word Chat GPT. Oh, it's AI. But I feel like a lot of people don't really know what that is.
Yeah.
How would you describe what
So
is Chat GPT?
It is kind of like a black box, right? And then from someone on the inside of tech, I actually don't get very excited or hype about tech stuff like this. Like it comes in the news and people like talking about it. It is really amazing, but to me, then whenever this comes out, someone in my family send me an email. It's like, our machine's gonna like take over our jobs. I'm like, knowing from the inside, I don't know the in depth about machine learning and AI, but it isn't like a person or thinking. It doesn't have feeling. It's just like you feed it a bunch of data and it can respond based on that, and you're kind of training it. So it's not as mysterious.
Yeah.
It is powerful, but it's already kind of like around. Like it's nothing really new. It's
the thing that just kind of gets me though, because like I've used ChatGPT and I ask random questions, but because I don't use it in my work at all yet. But the thing that just kind of was creepy to me is that it did seem like another person on the other side was typing to me, albeit not thinking very deeply.
Right.
It's kind of like, yeah, what's the meaning of life? Well, there are a lot of reasons for that, and here's one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But like, how does it, like, what I'm really curious about is like, how do they make it so that it like looks so natural? Like you say, you're feeding data to it, but
yeah. And again, I'm not going to talk about it because I have no idea. But it's it takes a lot of sources of natural human language, like communications, and it reads that and kind of learns the patterns.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. Something that I've been messing around with is, this is not exactly Chat GPT, but it's another one of those AI programs. I think it's called Novel AI.
Mm-hmm.
But it writes stories for you.
Writes stories.
Yeah. So you give it a prompt, and it's really incredible. So for example, I could be like, I want to write Top Gun 3. So Tom Cruise starts off on like a rocket ship going to the moon, or whatever. I write the prompt and I explain exactly who I want in the story. I write what I want in the story, and it'll actually write you a story using that prompt.
That's pretty cool.
Is it a good story though?
It's passable.
Yeah.
Passable. It's still pretty amazing if you can write any story that is coherent.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing about it is like I think we're still in like the infancy of stage of kind of doing machine learning, but the thing that I find really incredible is just the fact that we're past the point where it's easily noticeable that a program responded to you.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, now we're at the point where it's like, wait, is this a person? You know?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, like, it goes back to the whole thing where when I was using Chat GPT asking these questions, like instead of, so, up until now, well, you kind of have like a progression in terms of research goes. So at first, you had to gather the information resources yourself. You had to go to the library. You had to search for it. Then the internet comes out. They bring those to you. Like, I want information on this. It brings it to you. Yeah. But now we're at the next step where, okay, I don't want to read this. You read it for me and tell me what it is.
So
exactly.
Kind of bringing this around and mentioning where it's going to be used in schools. So
is this about your school? Or in general?
My school, but also kind of schools in general. I don't think my school is unique in this. So one thing Google's working on right now is they're working on completely revamping their search engine to incorporate Chat GPT. So it's no longer going to be like, imagine yourself as a student right now and you're trying to do a research project, right? Normally you would go on Google and you... if you really don't know about the topic very well, you're going to have to go to Wikipedia and kind of find like a general idea of what you want to search for. And then from Wikipedia, you follow links and you get into like more substantial stuff about the topic, right? So what Google's doing right now using Chat GPT is now you don't have to do that. You just go on and you'll be using this AI to go, hey, you know what? I want to know specifically about this topic. Find something that answers my question.
Right.
And the AI will do all of that for you. So you don't have to like go to all these websites. You will just get the answer you're looking for.
Like for my work too, it saves so much time.
Yeah.
So I can get more done faster.
So how do you use it in your work?
So for instance, if I'm like want to know how to query data, like using a certain language that I don't know, I say, well, how would I, if I'm looking for this type of data, what would I write? And it just tells me.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of like for years, for a long time, programmers, most of our job was actually Googling stuff. That's like kind of the secret. It's like you have to be able to be good at finding answers.
Yeah.
But ChatGPT now, it's like speeds it up. So it tells you, like you were saying, I like that comparison to like the library. It's like now you're actually having someone do the research for you and just distill the important part of it for you. So it just saves time.
Yeah. And it really shows me like, how much of your work you think is really like special to you, but really a lot of it is standardized that if you have a certain level of precision, like anyone can do it. Because like even when you think about writers, right? They're writing these blog posts and stuff. Like there's a way to write an effective blog post. There are rules for writing a blog post.
Yeah,
and you can teach that to a computer that will write it for you. Like with the story, when you were talking about the story thing, right?
Yeah.
So I've researched how to make a story, what components you need to make a good story, and I actually can watch movies now where I'm like, oh yeah, so they put this in because they want to tell this thing, right?
Yeah.
But now
it kind of ruins the experience.
It does. It does. I'm like, oh man, they should have done this instead. It would have been a more complete movie.
Yeah, I was like studying film in university, and it ruined
worst decision.
I was like, okay,
it just ruins movies for you.
Yeah.
But now, like, because you have a computer that knows those rules, so they can just build out what we think is a creative work, but it's really just a more complicated standard procedure kind of thing,
Yeah.
Something about writing I want to mention is I see like a use, and maybe it's already happening, is like for things like news articles, which is very kind of dry, and it doesn't really have like, it's just reporting facts, right? You could just have machines do that.
So that's actually kind of scary.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I wanted to talk about is like there's this surge of do you guys know what deepfake is?
Deepfake? No, yeah.
So
do you want to explain what it is?
So deepfake is basically and not just images, but it could be news articles or pretty much anything that's meant to look real. Right? So something that's really popular right now is voice changers.
Yeah.
Which I'm having a blast with. I downloaded a voice changer AI onto my computer, and like I'll make like Trump talking about various subjects and send them to my friends.
I didn't even know this existed.
It's so much fun.
Okay, I'm gonna do that as soon as I get home.
So you download these AI and you literally like it takes a while for the AI to get used to your voice and just how you talk. But eventually over time it eventually learns and it changes. So now I'll have like whole like several minute conversations using Trump's voice. It's so much fun.
And can people tell the difference?
Yeah.
Okay.
It depends. Like if depending on which software you're using. The software I'm using, there's you have to kind of try and adopt some of the mannerisms of the person you're trying to imitate. But there's other programs, the name escapes me right now. But there's other programs that you can download, and what you do is you take sound clips of the person that you're imitating, and you feed it into the AI, and then you give it text that you wanted to say, and it'll actually use the sound clips to formulate speech.
That's pretty cool.
It's really cool.
Scary too.
But yeah, so that's the thing, is it's kind of scary because you can couple that with also facial recognition technology has changed in the past year, where I think it started like a couple years ago where you guys remember those apps where you could like take
face
a photo
swap?
Yeah, you got face swap, and then you got like what you'll look like when you're old. So those were kind of like the caveman stages of this. Now,
and when you say caveman, that was only like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but
it seems like a long time ago, but yeah, it moves
you know
fast.
what I mean? 5 or 6 years is like you look at that in the past. It's like it literally is ancient technology compared to technology today. But yeah, so you combine that with all this face swap technology. So now someone, for example, Obama's speeches are really popular, where people like face swap their face into Obama and have him say like ridiculous things. But that technology is getting to a point where it's very difficult to tell if it's real or not. And that's
dangerous.
Like
it could
that's
be
scary.
It's at that point. It's like, okay, because up until now, the best evidence for stuff has been video evidence, and now you're not going to be able to trust video evidence anymore.
It's really interesting. I just read an article about a month ago of how crime and like crime surveillance, I guess, are kind of like in this arms race right now. So there was a criminal who was caught tricking a CCTV camera using like a prosthetic finger. Okay. So he had a 3D printed finger that like poked out of his finger or his hand right here. So it looked like he had 6 fingers.
Yeah.
And the whole point of that was that CCTV footage would catch this, and it would immediately be dismissed because it would look like it was
a real person.
It would look like a fake video because the person had 6 fingers.
Oh, okay.
Like people would look at that and go, "Oh, well, clearly this is doctored evidence because this guy's got 6 fingers, and this looks like an AI generated."
Oh, really?
So it's like. The guy got caught because, like, I think someone saw him in real life, and they're just like, "Dude, why do you have this?"
Yeah,
that's pretty smart though, because AI has problems with hands, like rendering hands.
So like, I was reading that article, and I was like, "Man, that is a really good idea."
Yeah,
dude.
So it's just crazy, like how things are, like the pace that things are evolving.
One thing that I was thinking about as far as like this pace kind of stuff goes is I've heard stories of people who take AI generated stories and AI generated art, and now they're selling them as like picture books.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And what I was thinking though is because do you guys know what like the best selling books in the world are, like the genre?
No.
It's like the romance novels with like the shirtless guys.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. So it's like, but the thing is like so some of the most famous authors of that genre, they write 100 books a year.
Yeah.
And it's not because they're actually writing them. They know the mechanics, and they just swap out the names and like the details.
That makes sense.
And they have other writers write it, and then they publish it.
It's like a template, like fill in the blank.
Ghostwriting.
Yeah. And so now you don't need a ghostwriter. Like I could do that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
That could be your retirement plan.
That's my retirement plan. Don't steal my idea.
And then you can make $1 million a year.
So there's actually been this is exactly what you've been talking about. Been a really hot topic here in Japan right now in regards to manga and anime.
Okay.
Because of image generation with these AI. You have a lot of manga writers that they work in a manga studio here in Japan, and they're just hours every day just writing all this manga. And now you have AI program that can realistically do someone's job, like an entire day's work, in maybe like an hour or so. And so it's a really serious topic of how is this going to affect the anime industry in Japan.
Right.
Yeah, it's funny. I think it's going to go the way of like a lot of traditional artisan, like shokunin sang here, like, so because the thing is now, for example, with like washi, with Japanese paper, right, that stuff's beautiful. It's super expensive though. But so that'll have its place. It'll just be a lot fewer people, and then all of the like the practical everyday stuff is going to get super cheap.
Right. There might be like a return back to like manual things, or appreciating stuff like that, because automation, I mean, it makes things faster, and it's great, but at the same time there's a downside, I think. It eliminates like jobs, and like it kind of, people lose the craft of certain things.
So that's actually something I wanted to ask you, Andy, because you're a really deep thinker with a lot of stuff. But a lot of people, they talk about how AI is going to destroy jobs, get rid of jobs, just like
it has. I mean, automation has been eliminating jobs for the past few decades.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so it's just continuing that.
Yeah. But so a lot of people, what they say is like, we're not going to make new jobs, or there's going to be a net increase in unemployment and stuff like that. But what I see is like when a new technology comes out, there are job losses, but then there's new job creation. So I'm not really worried about unemployment.
I'm not either. Well, because I think actually it might actually give people more opportunity, because like learning coding and investing in learning these things, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
And it's expensive for people. So if it's more accessible, and there's a demand for people that have those skills, it might actually open up more jobs to people that wouldn't normally be able to get in so easily. So
I mean, for automation, for me, that's the reason I can do my business, because I didn't have to learn code to do my website.
Yeah, and you shouldn't, like, now I wouldn't tell anybody to learn, because it's or to invest money in it like they used to, because you can learn for free, or you don't really even have to write code anymore.
So I was actually thinking about this very subject the other day, and on the topic of new jobs, I think in the near future, there's going to be a huge demand for a specific type of job that maybe, it might be a little inappropriate to say it's going to replace artists, but I think a new version of artists are going to come out, and what they're going to be is they're going to be called, like, basically curators. So instead of an artist sitting down with a pen and paper and drawing something, the art is going to be writing prompts for the AI to generate the art. I think that is going to become a new art style of, okay, well, if I write it this way and put it into the program, then I'm going to get this type of response from the AI.
Yeah.
And I think that is going to become something that becomes really popular in the future.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of artists already doing that. There's some guy like on Instagram, he makes these like image stills from films. So they don't exist. He kind of uses prompts, but it's not just the computer. He actually will add on his own like touch up. So it's kind of like working with the machine together to create
it's like, you know, all the mechanical repeatable stuff in your job is going to get outsourced to AI, and you are going to still be responsible for the more creative aspects.
Yeah, exactly. There's things that machines aren't good at that we're good at. You know, machines are good at calculating things and analyzing data and finding errors. We're good at making like our intuition and making connections and communication with humans. So
yeah, I mean, so back in like was it in the Renaissance era when art was really starting to pick up again, you know, a lot of the Renaissance artists, they couldn't buy paint, so they had to mix their own paint. So they would share and trade paint recipes. And be like, hey, if you want to get a blue like this, you have to put in this kind of stuff. And, you know, artists don't do that anymore, right? But it's just going to be that progression.
Right.
Yeah.
But
and it's just I think that's a really good analogy is like sharing paint. It's not like I really think that people shouldn't look at this as from a point of view that it's replacing people. It's more of allowing people to have the freedom to actually just focus on like the condensed or distilled part of their job that is really like kind of the sexy part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like now you're not spending all this time. It's like, okay, well, I got to draw the lines out and kind of think about this, or you know, figure out paint recipes, or you know, all this stuff. It's like now it's like, okay, well, I'm just focusing on the design and the overall feeling of this. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
So for you guys, seeing how like Chat GPT and all these other like AI kind of like chatbots are coming out now. So I'm sure sometimes you guys use them in your work and stuff, but what's something that you would like to do in the future? Like when you were talking to me about the speech stuff, I was thinking about Trump and how, you can write a speech and then have Trump's voice, but if it doesn't match his like phrasing, his way of speaking, then of course everyone's gonna know it's fake. So what I want to do is I want to have Chat GPT write a speech in the style of this person. And then I want to do that deep fake.
Oh yeah. Could do that.
So that's entirely possible right now. And it's only gonna the technology for it is only gonna improve. In response to your question though, something that I would like to do and something that I hope for in the future is I am excited for when we get to the point where AI is going to be able to generate full movies for us.
Dude, that's so hard for me to imagine, but it will happen.
You know, it sounds crazy, but I think the technology will exist possibly within the next 5 years, but definitely within the next 10 years. We're gonna hit a point in society where like movie theaters aren't really going to be a thing anymore, or at least the concept of movie theaters right now aren't going to be. You're going to instead be going to a movie and you'll be given like a prompt in the beginning, and it's like, what do you want to see? Do you want to see a romance? Do you want to see a horror? You'll select horror or whatever you want to see, and then you'll be like, okay, well, do you want to see like ghosts or demons or serial killers or all these different things? You'll be able to create and basically curate your own experience watching movies, and I am so hyped for that. I think that's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah, and that too, like there will be like AI actors.
Oh, 100%,
for sure.
So.
You know, it's funny because you talk about how in Japan, like, do you guys know about VTubers?
Yeah.
In Japan? Yeah. So like VTuber is like, actually now there are more and more VTubers in the United States now too. But for a while, people were like, why would I watch this artificial, not real person talk on screen? You know, but that's what it's going to be.
Right. Exactly.
100%. And something that I'm really happy for is, so I think there's no denying that Japan's kind of been in a slump in the past decade, or probably several decades, right? You know, China and North Korea, as far as North Korea. North Korea is still far behind. South Korea. China and South Korea have kind of picked up the pace and kind of caught up with Japan as far as outsourcing technology goes. Whereas like you look at back in the 80s, Japan was like the place for technology. It's like people often looked at like Tokyo as like the city of the future, right? And
it's the city of the future in the 80s.
Yeah. And something that I'm really excited for, because we all live in Japan, so it's like I'm always rooting for Japan. I want them to succeed.
Yes.
Japan has like fully embraced AI technology, and there's a lot of companies that are like really developing and like really trying to like push the boundaries on this. So I'm really excited because Japan's like really on the cutting edge of everything. So I think we're gonna see like a lot of like breakthroughs in technology, like specifically here.
I hope so.
Right.
Yeah,
me too. Yeah.
So was there anything else that you guys wanted to share about this topic of ChatGPT AI stuff? I think we talked about a lot of stuff.
I think we talked about everything. But
yeah. Cool. All right. Well, this was great, Andy. I really
this was fun.
I want to have you back.
Yeah, I'll try to be on more.
I'll try to be on more. Yeah, I really want to be here. This was so much fun, guys.
Thanks for inviting me on, though.
No, it's fine.
It's good.
Yeah, man.
Cool. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right.